This is Tucker here with Tuck's Rods. And where we left off with the Blue Goose the other day was I ended up sitting her down on the old Roadmaster chassis. And at where I set it down at, I had it at the stock location for the rear wheel. But since then, I've done a little bit of measuring and shimmying around. And I ended up scooting the body actually forwards about a little less than a half of an inch, which actually would center the wheels to the, to make up for that point 0.9 difference between the chassis of the Roadmaster and a 57. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get a fender mocked up on it today, get some different wheels, try and get a decent look of it to kind of see if it's going to work right there or if we're going to have to shove it back the other way to set the front wheel exactly where it needs to be and possibly shorten the rear control arms or not. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that and see what we end up with. Well, I'm having a little bit of trouble finding any uni-lug wheels or any 5-on-5 bolt pattern wheels that I have for the mock-up for the old Blue Goose. So I decided to go ahead and come over here and borrow these old Raider wheels off the back of my old 34 Ford that I'd been working on several years ago. They're not too bad looking old wheels, but the tires are a little bit tall on here for what I was wanting to use them for, but I think it's going to have to work. Here's what the old 34 Ford looks like. It's a two-door sedan. It's got a Jimmy the Hooker wedge job on the top. And when I put her together, I want to get a high winding small block Chevy in her with the old Hillborn fuel injection unit. So hopefully I can get her back in the shop here and get her blasting down the road here before long. Well, I ran into my first flaw so far on getting this baby mocked up. I think I pulled this old Raider wheel off my 34 Ford for nothing. It's actually pretty tall. I actually bought these tires. They're like those Speedway old school looking cheater slicks. And I bought them for my 55. I don't know if anybody's seen that earlier video I have of the old gasser that I've got. And it's been probably like 10 or 12 or 13 years ago. And they fit on it without any problem because it had the old Oldsmobile rear end in it with the 5-on-5 bolt pattern, and somebody had already cut the wheel wells out of it. But on this one, I'm having troubles. It looks like it's going to hit right up here on the front. These tires are just way too tall to go up under here, so I'm gonna go do some digging around and see if I can figure out something else for this temporary mock-up. Well, I went out there in the barn and did some more digging around, and I was kind of disappointed that wheel I pulled off my 34 didn't fit on there, because I was kind of curious how she was going to look with the old radar wheels on there. But then I got digging around, and I seen one laying there that a buddy of mine, a Mopar friend of mine, came out here a couple weeks ago with a pickup full of wheels and tires and rims. And he wanted to do some swapping around with some tires on rims to get one of his old projects into a roller. And he happened to have an old Raider wheel that had an old school cheater slick on it, and he only had one. He said he didn't need it, didn't have the make to it, and wanted to know if I wanted it. And I thought, well, shoot, yeah, I'll take it. And because once in a while you can come across, you know, another one that's the same. You know, not very often, do you? But just in case, you know, I thought, well, shoot, I'll take it. So it's 4 3/4 inch bolt pattern, but I was thinking that these studs look pretty long on this Buick, so I might be able to just get it to slide over and you know, put the lug nuts on there. You know, if there's enough studs sticking out that I can get the wheel to stay on there, since it's just temporary for mock-up. So I'll show you what this one looks like, and we'll see if we can get it put on there. Yeah, as you can see, this old rim isn't in there as good a shape as that other one that I have, but man, this old cheater slick on this thing is just cool. And it's way too rotten to ever run it again, but man, I tell you, some of these old cheater slicks that I've seen over the years at swap meets and stuff are just awesome. I don't know, that'd been cool to live back then. I tell you, there's some pretty neat options you had. And I'll show you here the difference in size here between this and the other one. I can get this other one out of here. They're both 15s, but you know, you can kind of tell there's just a huge difference in tire size here and on the width. So we'll get the camera set back up over there and finish trying to get her put together here for mock-up. All right, well, we got the old Blue Goose setting back down here on all four, and just from the little bit that I've looked at it here, walking back and forth, I'm thinking I'm pretty well liking it. As far as the wheels being back a ½ inch or a little less than a ½ inch from stock back here, I don't think it's really all that noticeable. So I think I can live with that. And as far as the front goes, you know, it's about just a little less than a ½ inch forward over stock. And to be honest with you, I think I can live with that too. It's not really, to me, it's not really all that noticeable. I'm sure maybe some of them purist trifive guys could probably walk up and notice it right away, but I think on you know, the average amount of people, I don't think they're going to really notice it. So and then I went ahead and popped some stainless on the side of it just to kind of get the full effect. And ever since I was in high school, man, I always loved these 57s with these Rochester fuel injection emblems on them. And I thought, man, I've got to go ahead and put them on there, because since we're officially actually, it officially actually has a Rochester fuel injection small block Chevy in it right now. It kind of backs it up having them emblems on there. So I was pretty stoked about putting them on there. I couldn't wait any longer. So we got them on there, and as far as the ride height goes, me personally, man, I think I'm just going to leave it right where she's at. And I'm sure she'll settle in a little bit more once we get the interior and the rest of the sheet metal on it and drive it around a little bit. But I don't think it's going to go, a big amount of distance from where it's at. I think she'll probably settle in maybe a ½ inch or so, but that's probably going to be about it, and I can pretty much live with that. And I went ahead and put a little primer on that rocker panel, since it had that black coating on there, because it was real hard to distinguish where the actual bottom of the rocker was with the dark shade under the car. Because I've had a few people asking me about if you can see the frame when you're sitting a little lower on the ground. So I went ahead and put that primer on there, and we'll go ahead and sit down here kind of low and kind of look at it. But you really can't even hardly see the frame under it. So it doesn't like stick right out at you or anything. I don't think you can see it any more than you can on a stock trifive, because they actually sit down a little bit. They're just further towards the middle. These ones are a lot closer to the outside area there. So I think the next step is I'm going to go ahead and get some stuff done with the firewall, figure out for sure exactly which direction I'm going to go there, and get the trunk area kind of figured out before we lift this body off of here. And then I was thinking initially I'd probably have to take it on and off of here 3 or 4 times, but I think actually the next time the body goes on there, I think we'll burn her on. And it's coming along here, so we'll be ready for that race with the old Mustang here before long. So and then again, like I said, I want to thank everybody that's been following along with this build and watching these videos and stuff. And if you're new, you can go back and check out when we started on it. It hadn't been all that long ago, but it's not coming along real fast, but we're getting there. And like I said, I'm going to try to do quite a bit more builds as we go after we get the old Goose going. So yeah, if you're finding any of this stuff entertaining, or you like any of this stuff, please hit the subscribe button and like, and make sure you feel free to comment, because I will get back to you on anything, if you have any questions or anything. So like I said, once again, I appreciate everybody that's been watching and following along, and I'll try to hurry up and get something else on here pretty quick. Until then, take care.